all ready for the cross section. We're cutting the floor plan at this line. The triangle is pointed to the direction that we're looking. So now we want to make sure that we are working with the proper line hierarchy. We go annotate, line detail. We check the construction line. So I go through construction, sketch. I am certainly cutting through this portion, this wall, so I'm just going to move it down. And I want to bring it down substantially, like about 30 feet or so. So about 33 is fine. Nothing articulate. So I know this is pretty much the outline of my drawing based on the wall that I'm cutting through. Now I'm going to copy a whole series of lines. These are the two walls on either side that I'm cutting. Now I'm going to identify the outline of the wing wall in the background that I get to see. So essentially these are the two walls that I'm cutting through, and that's the outline of the section. The ground line is on this side, so I'm quickly going to sketch the ground line from this junction. Doesn't matter, just a good distance over. Okay. The lines on either side, this one and that one, meet right there. That's my section, the elevation behind of that wing wall behind. Now, if I'm not clear, that's the wing wall behind. So I'm going to pull this line down as well. Now, my floor was happening somewhere here. First, I'm going to draw my floor down at the bottom here. Now, watch the way I'm going to move it up 8 inches. I'm going to pick it with the fork, move it up from this junction straight up 8. I'm going to type in 8 inches, and I'm going to hit enter. It moved everything with it 8 inches. Now, I'm going to move or offset this line 12 feet 8 inches. So I pick this line, offset 12 feet 8 inches. 12 feet 8 inches. That tells me where the top of my roof is going to be at the top. Actually, it's my ceiling. Now I'm going to offset 8 feet 8 inches, 8 feet 8 inches, this point. I'm going to quickly annotate. I'm going to get the distance from here to here is 12 feet 8, and the distance from there to there is 8 feet 8. Now I'm going to connect the dots. Annotate, detail line. I'm going to connect the outside point to the inside point. Essentially, what I did was I established the slope. Now the roof is 1 foot. So I'm going to pick this line, offset 1 foot. There it is. The offset of the wing wall behind is 1 foot 6. I'm going to offset that 1 foot 6. And I'm going to extend to my wing wall on this side, extend to my wing wall on that side. So that's the outline. I do know I have an overhang here. Initially, I'm just going to extend my overhang this much. But then I said, wait a minute. My roof overhangs only 1 foot 4. So I'm going to offset 1 foot 4 from this edge. And that tells me how much my roof overhang is. So now I'm going to annotate the lines that I know I am cutting through. Section cut line is this one. I know I'm cutting through the floor. I know I'm cutting through the wall. And I certainly know I'm cutting through the ceiling over here. And it's coming down. I don't know how far. It's coming down. I don't know how far. It's coming down. I don't know how far. I do know I'm going only this much. That's where I sliced it. Back to this point. And here it is, the back of mine. Now I need to create another thick line, but for now I'm just going to do it this way. That's my ground line. That's my ground line. All right. Now in the background, I see that silhouette. I'm going to go with a thin line. Detail line. switch the line to thin line. I'm going to have to scroll down. I'm going to have to scroll down to find the thin line. The thin line in the background is essentially there and here. That's the wing wall behind. Now, I'm going to bring all of this a little bit up higher so I don't have to go back and forth as much. Watch this. Motherly hug. Move it just a little bit from here straight up and down to there. So now it's closer so I can do my work. If I want to move it a little bit up higher, I can indeed do so just a little bit up higher. All right. So now I'm going to bring my construction lines to my fireplace. Okay. Let's do the outside line. So I'm going to copy this line, copy from that junction to here and to here. Oops, I put it in the wrong place. Not a big deal. I erase it because if I move, it's going to move stuff with it sometimes. In this case, it didn't, but sometimes it moves other things because it finds itself attached to it. So sometimes you have to replace it. Now the code says, I'm going to do it with construction line. So the code says, if I come across this way, 10 feet, notice this is less than 10 feet, so I'm going to come across 9 feet something. Then I'm going to offset 2 feet, 2 feet above, from here to here. That's where my chimney is going to stop. So I'm going to go annotate, detail line. I'm going to change to that thin line, and I'm going to draw my chimney from there to there, coming down to here, and one more time to here. Then I'm going to interrupt it here. 2 ways I can do it. I can just pick this line and trim it this way, and then go ahead and annotate going from here to there, or I could have just trimmed it. However you're comfortable. Once you know what you're doing, you can move from that point on. So essentially, that's what I've got. I've got my low point, high point. I've got my lines. Now I'm going to focus on the interior regarding the fireplace. So I'm going to trim against here. I'm going to trim against here, this line and that line, so that I don't get confused with the new lines of the fireplace that I'm about to draw. So I'm going to copy this line from that junction. I'm going to bring it here and here. First, I'm going to focus on the fireplace opening on the interior. That's the fireplace opening. How tall is it? It's 2 feet. So I'm going to go up 2 feet, quickly trim, there, oops, and I'd rather not do it that way. I'd rather first put this as a thin line, so I'm going to convert it into a thin line. Watch how I'm going to go down, thin line. Then I'm going to continue with that thin line, make sure it's thin line, and I'm going to draw my line from there to there, here to there. That's my outline. I can chamfer this in that format. That's the interior of my fireplace. Now I'm going to take another line, and I'm going to take this line, copy. From this junction, I'm going to go to this intersection. And might as well put it on the opposite intersection. That's the inside of my fireplace, and I would like it to go all the way down, extend to that edge and this edge. Now, that portion is 1'4", so I'm going to offset 1'4" here. And I'm going to quickly trim it if I want, but I'd rather not. So what I'm going to do is first place that into a thin line. Then I'm going to annotate with the thin line from this junction to this corner, that corner to this junction, and then trim it at that junction, at that corner. Draw, annotate a detail line from there to this corner, there to this corner. That's the interior of my fireplace. So I've essentially drawn the silhouette of my section. Now it's just a matter of drawing lines. So I'm just going to come over here, draw. I'm going to use that thick line, section cut line. So I'm going to do the section cut line. I'm going to draw this line. Then I'm going to move it up 6 inches. Move from this junction up 6 inches. There it is. Oops. You see how I moved it together with that? So I'm going to offset it. This one, offset 6 inches. So 6 inches, not 6 feet, Nazi. Here it is. Up on the other side. There we go. I can get rid of this one. Then I'm going to offset 3 feet 6. Oops, there. Then I'm going to erase this one. Offset another 2 inches. Then what I would like to do is finish this portion, annotate, and it's that section cut line there, that junction, this corner to that corner, this intersection to this intersection, intersection to intersection. Now I would like to copy this section from that point. Okay, so I'm going to copy it from this junction to that junction, one more to that junction. And then I go, I don't need this one. I could have gotten rid of this one. I'm going to get rid of the little ones and just trim this way. And there might be an extra line underneath. I can just go like this. And go like that. Go over it, make sure there are no tiny lines. They're not. So here's my section. Here's my cross section. I could remove this temporarily. So hide category. There's my cross section. I can continue with drawing the thin lines. Annotate, detail line. So I'm going to go with detail thin line. And I'm going to go ahead and draw this edge. Next. Go to the center. Move it if you want, or offset 0.75. 0.75 to remain consistent with the floor plan. Remove the center line. Once you do that, copy that whole image to here. And it's multiple, so I can copy it to here as well. Now I would like to place the window. So I'm going to turn on my construction lines and begin another construction set of lines. So I'm going to copy this one from that junction, place it, Nazi, at this corner, this corner. That's my window. I'm going to extend those 2 lines to the floor. That's my window. My window is happening 3 feet above the floor. I'm going to set it up at 3 feet above the floor. And then another 3 feet is over there. I'm going to detail line with thin lines. I could do it this way. Rectangle right there. And I can erase this line. Now to get your act together. There we go. And that's another way of doing it. Much faster. Much faster. And then you go, oops, I was going to the construction line. What can I do? You then go back and you say, well, let's move this line out of the way so that dimension line doesn't get in the way. All right, so my window's here. What do? I move from here 90 degrees to here. It stretches it really easy. Now I would like to offset all of this, 0.75 inches, 0.75, and I go here, 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 here. If you went inward, it would have cleaned it. Notice how it cleans it for you here. But sometimes it understands it, sometimes it doesn't. So there it is, my window. And you can add additional line hierarchy to this later on. But right now, I want to make sure that I've got the core basics. So I'm going to